The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
And hello everyone and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host Darren Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our community as well as around the world. Coming up on today's show, we'll bring you the latest local, national, and international headlines. Then we'll continue with our law series from A through Z with the letter M in our legal corner. After that, we'll tell you about a historic international peace party happening right here in New York. And then we'll find out what is in store for the 12th annual Jerome Gun Hill Business Improvement District Fall Festival. You don't want to miss that. Plus, we'll hear from a local hospital raising awareness of a blood disorder that is plaguing our community. And then also, before we leave you, we'll give a preview of how a number of local figures are mixing it up for a great cause. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. Hello everyone, I'm Darren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2013. Of course, you're watching Open, the only live and interactive program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We want to encourage you to stay connected to us. You can find us on Twitter at BronxNet TV and Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Well, leading things off with national news, investigators continue to piece together missing information about the Navy Yard shooting suspect who carried out a deadly attack, leaving 12 dead, 8 injured. The suspect sought help from the Veterans Administration a number of times and claimed he was not receiving his benefits. Federal agents are still asking the public to fill in information gaps. Moving now to the international front, Brazilian President Rousseff postponed a visit to the United States, protesting a spy program that has targeted the nation's government and private citizens. The decision came following a series of reports on Brazil's Global TV, which gave details about the NSA's program efforts in Brazil. The reports include revelations that Rousseff's communications with aides were intercepted, along with other important and confidential data. Back here in New York City, Mayor hopeful Bill Thompson has officially conceded to rival Bill de Blasio, although he still believes the results of the primary have not been made official. The decision was made after seeing de Blasio's edge grow throughout the weekend as the Board of Elections double-checked machines. His move now frees the Democratic Party from having to endure a vicious runoff, and many believe that it will create party unity. Well, on September 19th, a number of notable Bronx figures will mix it up at an event to support Visions, a group that's working to support the visually impaired. We're joined by Bronx Talk host and celebrity bartender Gary Axelbank, and we welcome him now to the show. Gary, how are you? Gary, do we have you there?
By the way.
How's everything going?
Everything is fine. Really looking forward to tomorrow night. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. And for the record, I've never bartended before. And we'll see what happens. Hope I don't spill too much.
Well, listen, it's going to be your first time, but it's for a good cause. Give us a little bit about the cause.
Well, Visions Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired provides free services for the blind and visually impaired. And, you know, if you have, let's say, an elderly relative, your mom or your grandmother or, you know, an aunt or an uncle whose sight is failing and their lives are changing, well, who do they turn to? How do you learn how to cope with it? How do you learn how to deal with it? How do you find people to interact with? All the different kinds of support you can get from Visions, and it's all free. I mean, it's just one of the real great organizations, not only in the Bronx, but throughout the city.
So give us the rundown tomorrow. What exactly is going to happen? Of course, you'll be mentioning
On some levels, I wish I knew because I just agreed to do it. But really, what's going to happen is I probably wear a bow tie, so some of the fans of Bronx Talk want to see me look a little different. We could do that. But we'll be behind the bar, and we'll be pouring drinks, and people, I think their tips go to the charity. And it's really going to be a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, if you order something real complicated, I'll just pour you a beer.
You won't,
I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's great. It's going to be a lot of fun. Assemblyman Mark Jonai is going to join us. Ed Conde Garcia, the mayor of Melrose, Donna Carlson from the Institute for Special Ed, and Lisa Soren from the Westchester Bid are all going to be bartenders with me. It's just going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
I figured if you have problems, you could have your iPad there and you can kind of like Google how to make the drink. It shouldn't be a problem, right?
Yeah, that'll only take 20 minutes. I think I'm much more the type of bartender that's good with kind of chatting with people and going through their problems than I am really serving the drinks. You know, Darren, remember Saturday Night Live where they had, the guy would order a Coke and they'd say, no Coke, Pepsi. So anybody who orders a drink, I'm just going to look them in the eye and say, would you like a beer?
There you go. I think that might be a little bit more simpler for you. That might be a more simple thing. So
I guess so. Anyway, it's at Tosca on Tremont Avenue, East Tremont, 4038 East Tremont Avenue, which is really one of the nicest spots in the Bronx. The weather should be nice. I think it's like an outdoor bar. It's just going to be really a lot of fun. And I know I have a lot of fans on Bronx Talk who, we don't get to meet face to face. This is a nice way of saying hello, and of course, doing it for a good cause.
All right, Gary. Well, good luck tomorrow, and we'll have to check in to see how things go. Gary Axelback, thanks a
Darren,
lot.
are you going to join me?
I can't join you tomorrow. I've got a previous engagement.
All right. Well, then I'm going to put one aside, and we'll serve it to you on the show one day.
All right, that'll be good. That'll be good. Take care, Gary.
Thanks, man.
All righty. Well, we do have to take a quick break, but guess what? We are going to continue, and we're going to return with our legal corner. That's coming up straight ahead. Stay with us.
Welcome home, man.
There is also a very attractive extended warranty option that includes free service and parts for the next 5 years. But there's no need for you to get that. You failed to get the test you needed at the doctor that would have detected disease early enough where it could have been treated. So you won't be around in 2 years to see him grow up, which means the warranty would be useless. Okay, sign here, please.
For a list of tests every man should have, go to ahrq.gov.
And welcome back to Open. Darren Jaime here with you. And in today's edition of Legal Corner, we continue with our law series A through Z. Today, the letter M is up in municipal liability. We welcome back our attorney and legal correspondent, David Lesh. And haven't seen you in so long.
For a couple of weeks. We're halfway through the alphabet now.
There's been a few letters.
It has. Well, M is easy.
Right.
For law. Municipal liability, actions against governmental agencies. Most people think it's just when you sue the city of New York, but that's not true. It's actions against the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, Manhattan and Bronx Surface Operating Corporation. Here's some other ones: Staten Island Rapid Transit Operating, Metro North, Long Island Railroad. I could just keep going. New York City Housing Authority, New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation for a medical malpractice case. You have everything from the Javits Center to Westchester Medical Center. This all comes under the genre of municipal liability.
And it's a little bit different.
It's different. Now, if something happens to you, or there's a contract action that you want to bring, you just bring the action. You just bring an action against Delta or the landlord if the ceiling falls on your head, or for a non-payment against anybody who owes you money. There's no condition precedent. You just bring your lawsuit. It doesn't work that way with municipal liability. With respect to all those different agencies that I just named, there's a condition precedent. You must first serve them notice that you will at some point be bringing an action against them. It's called the notice of claim. And many times people come to my office and they have no idea that they've missed the time limit to file their notice of claim against a municipal agency. Generally, it's 90 days. 90 days to let a municipality know that you're going to be bringing a lawsuit against them. Now, once you've already served them with the notice of claim, you still must meet the statute of limitations, which generally is a year and 90 days. But there are some nuances to it involving wrongful death against the municipality, and that might be 2 years, and pain and suffering. In terms of statute of limitations, things get a little bit different there, a little confusing. But the general rule is, if you're going to bring an action against a municipality, subway accident, housing authority issue, get hurt in the Javits Center, map store, you're on a bus, whatever it is, you don't just bring a lawsuit, 4 or 5 months later, let me go see a lawyer and tell them what happened. You have 90 days, and I brought a notice of claim so people can see it. I don't know if you can get a close-up of it, because we're going to go through it, because this is very, very important, because many times during the first 90 days, you can't get a lawyer to take your case. All right, so the lawyer is busy.
So you're going to have a responsibility.
So you have to fill this out.
Okay.
And I'm going to go over a little bit with you, okay, just so you understand what we're dealing here when we're talking about a notice of claim. And if your notice of claim, by the way, is defective, your case is defective. So you could have a defective notice of claim that nobody even bothers to tell you it's defective. 3.5 years later, you're before a judge and a jury, and you have a verdict in your favor. And the city of New York or the transit authority or the housing authority, they appeal and say, your initial notice of claim 3.5 years ago was defective. You said you fell on a sidewalk, and now during this whole trial you've been talking about a curb. You said, well, curb, sidewalk, it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. You told us about a curb or a sidewalk, and that's not what you're saying here.
Right.
And guess what? Your case will be dismissed. So those first 90 days are so important, and you have to understand, from the point of the municipality, why they want this notice of claim. They want to investigate what it is that you're alleging happened to you, or the issue, while it's still fresh in everyone's mind, while the witnesses are still available, while the scene is still the scene and hasn't changed. So they want to know within the 90 days exactly what transpired, and they're going to want to know the notice of the basic Blumberg form. It's called a Blumberg form. Basically talks about your name, your address, the nature of the claim. That would be when it happened, the date, the time, where it happened. You got to be very, very specific, and it better be legible so they can read it. Whatever municipality you're going to be serving it on, personally serving it on, actually going there, getting it clocked in, and making sure that there's a stamp on it, so you can show that you got it to them within the 90 days. It's going to want to know your damages, exactly what happened to you. On the opposite side, you're going to have to swear to it. It's going to have to be notarized. I mean, this is very, very important. This document is everything when it comes to municipal liability.
So when you talk about this, you have to be, in general, more specific, to the point. 90 days, you got to get in there.
Got to get it in there. And here's the thing: if you're not in within 90 days, you can always make a motion to file a late notice of claim. I've done that for different claimants, but sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. It depends on a couple of factors. The first thing is prejudice. If there's prejudice to the municipality because you're 91 days past, you're 1 day past, but the entire scene where you've tripped on the subway station or whatever it is has been completely remodeled, well, you're not going to get a chance to file a notice of claim because the municipality can't go back there and investigate what exactly happened. But let's say it's 1 or 2 days past and the scene is exactly the same, right? that's something that the court might consider. Well, there's no prejudice. The municipality can always go there now. Or there was an accident report already taken by the Transit Authority or the MTA. There's something over the city of New York. There's something there already. There's no real prejudice because they didn't get this within 2 days of the 90-day period. Or let's say the person who bringing the lawsuit is a child. The parent didn't know that you had 90 days to do it. Well, the court will maybe bend over backwards. It's a child here, so let's see if we can, stretch the 90-day term, a little bit longer for them. They did it in 4 months or 5 months. Now, if you're going to go into a year, the court might say that's too long. We're not going to give you that benefit. Let's say the person's incapacitated. Maybe they just couldn't get to a lawyer's office or to someplace to do a notice of claim. That might be a factor. These are all important things. It really comes down to prejudice. Is the municipality prejudiced by not getting this in time? Okay, so now we've served this on the municipality. Great, we've served it within the 90 days. What's next? Well, the municipality, the agency has a right to a hearing. They're going to serve you with a notice that you have to appear at the hearing. And if you don't appear at the hearing, you still can't bring the lawsuit. Generally, it's called a 50H hearing. And certainly, if you're suing the city of New York, and I go to these hearings all the time, a 50H hearing, an attorney will be there, will ask the claimant many questions. Remember, there's no lawsuit yet.
Right.
It's just a hearing. But it's so important because this particular transcript, it's a hearing transcript, not necessarily a deposition transcript, but it's a court reporter and you're sworn under oath, can be used against you 3 years later in court. They take out that 50H hearing and say, wait a second, within 4 or 5 months of your incident, you testified to all these things that happened when it was fresh in your mind. And now you're on the stand and you're changing your testimony. Which is probably a better version of what happened? What you said 4 months later in this hearing, or what you're telling us now 3.5 years later. So the 50H hearing is very important. So the municipality gets 2 bites of the apple here. They get the notice of claim, detailing exactly what's going on, so you better be specific and not make any mistakes. And then you got the hearing, where they have a chance to make sure that that you're telling the truth. Because remember, once you start that lawsuit, all the rules of discovery start. They get another deposition. In other words, they get another hearing.
But it sounds like even if my thing is on the up and up, and I have an up and up case, I'm very much on an uphill battle.
You are. Well, because you're bringing a lawsuit against a governmental agency. Those are your tax dollars here. So you want to really make sure if you're going to bring an action against the government, it's got to be legitimate. So this notice of claim is so very important. Municipal liability, everyone thinks, I was falsely arrested by a police officer. I'll see a lawyer 6 months later. Well, no, wait a second. You're suing the NYPD. That's a municipality. You got to file a notice of claim within 90 days. You've been violated, stop and frisk, whatever it is, it's 90 days. It's not longer than that. So, you get hurt on a bus, boom. Have a contract dispute with the city, with the municipality, notice of claim. Whatever it is, municipality, notice of claim, I can't say it enough.
And in this city, we know that there are hundreds of thousands of cases.
Well, you 311 calls all the time complaining of issues, of things that are happening against the city and things you want to complain about. You know how many people live in the housing authority buildings who are complaining that their apartment is completely falling apart, there's still lead paint, bed bug issues, ceiling falling down, all these things. Well, guess what? If you don't bring a notice of claim within those 90 days against the housing authority, you can't sue the housing authority. And even if you bring it within 90 days, you only have a year and 90 days to actually bring the lawsuit. So these time limits are so important, and the average Bronxite, the average New Yorker doesn't know.
So a lot of stuff pretty much falls under between the cracks.
Yes, listen, the best advice, always get to a lawyer, get to somebody who understands the time limits involved, but if a lawyer is not going to take your case, you still have to protect yourself and file that own notice of claim. Because if you don't, and you, for whatever reason, you just don't get to somebody to look at your papers or whatever it is, medical malpractice claim, whatever it is, within that time period, if you don't have that notice of claim, you're time barred. So municipal liability is a very important topic. It could fill books and books worth of cases in law. It's hard for me to cover it all in 8 to 9 minutes, but the best advice I can give to somebody is to make sure that you understand that you have time limits, especially the 90-day rule. 90-day rule.
90 days is the most important thing that you need to know here. All right, municipal liability. David Lesher, thank you so much. Before we leave, today's verdict, what's coming up?
Great stuff. We were talking about a lot of sports liability, children who are injured while playing different sports, and assumption of risk, and can they bring a lawsuit, and injuries in the NFL, and concussions, and A lot of good stuff. We got more stuff coming.
All right, David Lesh, today's verdict. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, got to take a quick break, but when we return, we will find out about how one local hospital is giving back. We'll explain more when we return.
So here are the keys. Congratulations, it's officially yours. I'm sure you'll have many happy years here. Except for you, because you'll be gone 3 years from now, struck down by the same disease that got your father. So you won't be around for them. And sadly, it could have been detected early with a simple test, but you didn't have it. Okay, who wants to check out the backyard?
For a list of tests every man should have, go to ahrq.gov.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
I remember how much you said you liked wine. Oh.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
Weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
And welcome back to Open. Sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder affecting thousands of people in the Bronx and nationwide. And in recognition of National Sickle Cell Awareness Month, the Children's Hospital at Montefiore will hold its Sickle Cell Awareness Day. Joining us now to share more about this event are Denise Velasquez and Rigoberto Tamala, pediatric hematology oncology social workers at the Children's Hospital at Montefiore. Try saying that twice. I did say it once and I did all right. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
As we say, it is National Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and for many people, we hear the word sickle cell. But for some, we still don't know exactly what we're talking about. So when do you define sickle cell? How would you define sickle cell?
It's a genetic disorder of the blood that affects a huge population, and particularly in the Bronx. Approximately 1,000 residents in the Bronx have sickle cell and come to our clinic. It's one of those diseases that actually affects specific populations, mainly African Americans, Afro-Caribbean, and Latino population. And what happens with sickle cell is that it affects the hemoglobin of the blood. Hemoglobin is the material that transports oxygen throughout the body, and what happens mainly is the red blood cell, which is normally a disc-like shape, becomes more of a sickle shape and sticky. And as it's traveling through the vessels, and they tend to clump into each other, thus creating sort of a clogging effect in the vessel. This can lead to severe pain, tissue damage. One of the more concerning part is that how it affects the organ functioning. So say, for example, if the sickle cell crisis occurs in an area in the lungs where it's affecting the person's ability to breathe, this could lead to this respiratory distress, also known as acute chest syndrome. If another example could be if it's the sickle cell crisis is occurring in an area where oxygen is deprived in the brain, it can lead to stroke, which can be lead to long-term damage to the brain and even death for that matter.
When we talk about children are adversely affected through sickle cell as well. Can you give us a little bit rundown as to how children are affected through this?
Sure. When you think about the painful crises that our patients have, you can't always see the effects on the outside of the person, and so the effects on that child could be whether it's social as well as in the school setting, and maybe on their hopes for the future. Socially, it's the child that could be sitting to the side because the parents are so nervous to allow that child to overexert themselves, or for the child to be able to go into the cold swimming pool. Because there are some things that are known to potentially cause a pain crisis or a painful event in a child, but or a person, an adult with sickle cell. It's never a guarantee. And so sometimes that child or that person is isolated from their peers. They're not allowed to engage as much. Or they're experiencing something internally that the person next to them doesn't understand. And so they're feeling something that their friends, I don't feel your pain. I don't understand what you're going through. In school, they're missing classes. If the child with sickle cell is in the hospital, inpatient for medical care, or every month missing several hours a month from school because they're getting blood transfusions, they're not hearing the same classroom assignments and presentations that their peers are, so they're not keeping pace with the work. And then you add into that the potential if they've had a stroke or if they have anemia and they're so exhausted that they can't keep up with the work. Those two things can compound that child's performance in the school setting.
So you've given us some information. On the 28th, you will have an awareness day. Give people a little bit about the awareness day itself. What are people gonna be exposed to?
It's a day where we have this every year, and every year we have a particular theme. This year it's on transitions, transitioning our young adults from the pediatric medical field care into adult care. And during that day, they're going to hear from the doctors, from providers, educating about the most updated medical information, but also from patients with sickle cell and their parents about their own individual experiences transitioning and learning and becoming more knowledgeable about their care.
So September 28th is the day, and I want to tell you that you can be a part of the Sickle Cell Awareness Day. And when you look at sickle cell, the fact that it affects traditionally African Americans at a much more higher volume than others, are we getting any reasons why? Is there any specific reasons why? Do we know?
There is there are a couple of theories as to why it occurs. One of the things that they're saying it's I think it started because of vaccination against malaria, and that created the mutation initially in Africa. And so what happens is that as this, which was really meant to combat malaria, it sort of mutated and spread to the population, which is mainly why it really affects the majority of African Americans.
And so genetically, it's so important to know your own trait. Do you have the sickle cell trait? Do you have sickle cell? And when you're planning on having children with your partner, you should know that person's status too. Education is a big component.
What are the warning signs that a person could actually look out for to possibly know that I might have sickle cell?
Well, actually, in New York State, it's required upon birth to run a genetic test. So they will know at day one, practically, as to if they will have sickle cell or not, and automatically are connected to a provider.
And so later on, there's no need for testing. And once you've had that test, do you have to return back, or how does it go?
Well, that you'll be followed by the provider. So again, sickle cell is very complex in the sense that each person has a different experience. Others have more chronic, where, as Denise mentioned, they will miss more days of school. They will spend more time in the hospital, require higher level of care. Others don't as much. They'll come in periodically just for follow-up and checkups of their levels and make sure that things are running fine. Some people, for example, will go throughout their youth functioning very well and without any crises, without any complications, and all of a sudden they reach the age of 17, 18 years of age and they find themselves coming to the hospital more often. It's very unpredictable as to how the disease will evolve throughout time.
One of the main topics that you guys are having, I guess, on the 28th is transitioning from pediatric care to adult care. And so I guess that means, when you become older, how do we deal? And so what are some of the challenges, I guess, that people are facing when they're making this transition?
One of the challenges that we usually face is in terms of the children transitioning over from pediatric to adult care is that they have to start to learn how to become more independent, be able to manage all the different systems that come into medical care. So say, for example, where they're very young, the parents are the ones that make the appointments, are the ones who refill the medications. They make sure they take the medications. They make sure that they follow through, whether if it's at school or whatever that comes along with the medical care. Once they reach the age of 18, 19, 20, 21, they have to learn these different things and be able to become more independent and self-reliant and be on top of this. And it's a lot. It's very overwhelming. So what we try to do here at our clinic is we try to teach them from a very early age how to manage the medications, how does their particular sickle cell functions. So that way, when the time comes, they're able to transition much more smoothly and reduce the possibility of falling through the cracks in adult care.
Given the fact that the 28th is going to be your awareness day, if people don't happen to make it out on the 28th, they want more information about awareness and sickle cell itself, what's out there, what's available, and where can they go to really get information?
If you're a person with sickle cell or you're a family member, by all means, and you're a member of Montefiore, you're interested in being followed with us, definitely reach out to our department at 718-741-2342. But you can also go online to various different resources, such as the Sickle Cell and Thalassemia Patient Network, sctpn.net. They're located within the 5 boroughs, fabulous resource. There's another resource in Westchester County, fallingangels.info, and I highly recommend that you network with other people who have sickle cell or have family members, because you're not alone.
Right. Support groups, I guess, are available, and they're very much necessary. I guess if you have a child or a young person, particularly in at your hospital, that is coming through the crack, or coming through the door, I should say, and making sure that parent doesn't fall through the cracks with information. Are there support services available for parents who are dealing with children with sickle cell?
At Montefiore, we do have a adolescent support group, and we're expecting it to start in October. They'll meet at a weekly basis, and essentially what we do is we talk to adolescents, and they talk amongst each other, they support each other, they share each other's experiences. And from what we notice is that the support group actually helps them be able to develop a better coping mechanisms in terms of trying to deal with not only just with the disease itself, but growing up and being an adolescent and trying to find some normalcy within the disease itself.
Denise, before we leave, once again, give us the date, time, and place.
September 28th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Montefiore Children's Hospital.
Alrighty, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. And there you see the information on the screen. And we encourage you to come out on the 28th between 11 and 3 for Sickle Cell Awareness Day. And Denise and Rigoberto, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, well, we want you to stay with us because we've got to take a quick break. But coming up next, we're going to find out about a party for peace, and you don't want to miss that. But first, the Bronx is one of the most diverse counties in the nation. But there are also places around the world where cultures are being lost. That's why UNESCO designates several points of the world as intangible monuments for humanity. One of those places is in Morocco, a friend of the Bronx. The borough president sent a message to the whole region of Tantan in the middle of Sahara Desert to celebrate the diversity and to preserve the culture. Our executive director, Michael Maxnabi, and Team BronxNet went there to deliver the message. Let's take a look.
Tantan, a town in the desert in southwestern Morocco, is chosen for the historical festival, Museum, that brings Saharians together to celebrate their culture and traditions. While many festivals around the world are in danger of disappearing, Museum of Tantan was proclaimed as one of the masterpieces of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity by UNESCO in 2005. Due to the security problem in the region in the mid-70s, authorities at the time banned the festival. But in 2004, with the support of His Majesty King Mohammed VI, UNESCO's Goodwill Ambassador Kitin Munoz brought this magnificent event back to life.
Prime Minister, Ministers, Princess Galina, UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador Kitin Munoz, President of the Explorers Club Alan Nichols, Governor of the Tantan, people of the Tantan and Morocco. I'm from a place where we have a lot in common with you here in the Tauntaun, one of the most diverse places in the world, the Bronx, New York City.
This year, with a special recognition of the Explorers Club, the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., proclaimed Museum de Tauntaun Day in the Bronx, presented by the BronxNet Executive Director, Michael McSnobby.
Whereas people from around the world gather at the 2013 Museum de Tauntaun in the Sahara Desert to celebrate culture of the nomadic tribes of the region with affinity, we in the diverse communities of the Bronx, comprised of people from all over the world, recognize the importance of protecting culture, heritage, and humanity. And whereas the Museum de Tauntaun is one of the world's richest cultural, religious, social, and economic events, which showcase diverse cultural expressions deeply rooted in values, openness, and tolerance. Therefore, I, Ruben Diaz Jr., President of the Borough of the Bronx, do hereby proclaim September 6, 2013 as Museum de Tauntaun Day in the Bronx.
As many Sahrawi tribes concerned to protect their way of life, Morocco's oral and artistic culture hopes that the festival will preserve their tradition and the cultural identity. For BronxNet, this is Christy Takash.
And thank you. Well, the General Assembly has declared September 21st International Peace Day. And this year, Good News Corporation will host a historic live broadcast of a party to focus on education to make the world a better place. Joining us now to share more about what we can expect is Paul Slaktis, who is the founder of Good News Corporation, and we welcome Paul to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. So give us a little bit more about this here.
Okay, well, the United Nations declared September 21st as the International Day of Peace, and we are strengthening that message, and their message is education for peace, with an event in Times Square as well as Central Park on Saturday. And so our event at Times Square in Duffy Square Park, 46th Street and Broadway, we'll have a large circle with the Peace Circle, with all the flags from the world represented at the UN, and little hug-a-planets representing everybody in the world and the animal kingdom. And we will sing songs, a sing-along with love and peace songs, moment of silence, and then we have different segments from educators helping children, because our focus is on children and grandchildren, for peace. And will be a broadcast, and know you guys will be down there, and thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. And we're inviting people there, so please come down. Need to be there at 11 a.m., Times Square, Duffy Square Park, to be part of the Peace Circle.
Certainly, and we want to ask the question about children, because children are our future and they are our present as well. How are we getting the message of peace to them?
Well, you know, we have incorporated into our broadcast almost 40 nonprofit organizations helping children, like Achilles Kids, you know, for those that are challenged physically, and Media for Humanity that helps for child trafficking, and Operation Respect, Peter Yarrows for bullying, and David Lynch's for meditating and being calm for children. So we're giving the intelligence of these organizations and sharing it in the broadcast, and hopefully you know, the word will get out in the sense of that there's hope, and that that it is a good world, and there's people there to help somebody.
Give us a little bit about the timing of this, because, I mean, of course, this is definitely pre-planned International Peace Day, but given the fact of the conflict that we're facing in Syria, what do you think a day like Peace Day, International Peace Day, will actually mean?
Well, you know, every day is Peace Day. It's like every day is Earth Day. And can a day like this be helpful to get the global consciousness to think peace and not think
Okay, well, we're having some technical difficulties, Paul, and I don't know exactly what our challenge is, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get you back on here so that we can hear a little bit more about you. You're fading out, and so we got to take a quick break, do some technical difficulties. We'll be right back, and we'll hear more, hopefully, about International Peace Day when we return.
I'm lucky. Let me help you with that. I get to do something I love. It has nothing to do with touchdowns or titles. Everybody bring it in. I get to play a part in the life of someone just starting out. How many of you think homework is just as important as teamwork? I help keep kids in school. Good. And that's the name of the game. My name is LaDainian Thomason. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United.
And we are back here on Open. Glad to have the open line. We're going to try to get back Paul on the line, who was talking a little bit about International Peace Day. Paul, are you there? He's glad to have you back. But we were talking before the break a little bit about Syria and getting the word out to people in the process of this conflict here with Syria. What does a day like International Peace Day mean? And you were saying?
And so the thought here is the more consciousness about solving differences and in a peaceful way is good news. And so a day like today, that Peace Day on Saturday the 21st or any other day, is the awareness that solve our differences anywhere that there are. Unfortunately, there's lots of problems. Streets, schools, war fields. So, we need to be peaceful people. We can't have our differences, but we don't have to punch anybody in the nose.
I think one of the things that people really talk about, or we need to talk about, is conflict resolution. How, or is there methods that we could use in terms of our day-to-day, in terms of, just as a community, in dealing with conflict resolution? Because if you're talking about peace, conflict resolution is definitely one of those components that that helps to bring that about.
Well, I very much agree with you. That's a very comment. That's what it's all about, and it's being peaceful in a conflict resolution. Resolution. It's not a revolution. It's a revolution of peace, and to focus on peaceful ways, Gandhi type of way to work with our brothers and sisters, no matter what the situation is, in our homes, everywhere. That's the key.
Let's walk our viewers through one more time on the International Peace Day. It will be held downtown. Let's give people the address, the time, and the place.
Okay, the two events. One event will be at 11 a.m. At Duffy Square Park, which is where the bleachers are, the tickets booth on 46th and Broadway. We'll create a large peace sign and the flags of the world and hug a planet. So, live television broadcast. Also that day in Central Park at the band shell from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., we have the Vigil for International Day of Peace and lots of musicians and entertainers. So we invite you to both events.
All right, well, Paul, thank you so much for sharing with us. Best wishes on the day, and of course, our cameras will be out there, so we'll be bringing our viewers more information about it. Thanks so much for sharing with us, Paul.
All right, we appreciate it very much. Thank you. May peace prevail on earth. Thank you.
Peace unto you. All right, well, we got to take a quick break. But when we return, we will hear about a community event that you don't want to miss. So stay with us. More Open is coming right after this.
Be free. Nice, Dad. Nice, Dad. Nice, Dad.
Charles!
Nice, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
Weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Thanks.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
How you doing? I just want regular, no sugar today.
You got it.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi.
Did you eat that whole thing today?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Hi, how you doing?
She's getting big, huh?
Big. Yeah, she is big. Great haircut.
Yeah.
Looks cute. Well, let's go. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
The 12th annual Jerome Gun Hill Business Improvement District Festival is fast approaching, and we're pleased to be joined today by Executive Director Marsha Cameron and Production Coordinator Al Pizarro to share more about the area's biggest event. It's going to be filled with food, games, music, rides, and much more. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So it's got to be an exciting time because, yes, you've got a lot on the table, and I was looking at the flyer, and who isn't there is the big question. But tell us about the day because it's a very special day for you guys.
It is. It's exciting. It's challenging. We have something for everyone. We have kiddie rides. We have sponsors like Radio Disney. We have celebrity basketball, domino tournaments, chess tournaments. We have a great lineup in terms of the entertainment that Al produced. And this year we also have a special tribute to Ibrahim Gonzalez, who passed away earlier this year. And so for us, we want to take some time to honor him with an all-star Latin jazz, which of course will be directed by Bobby Sanabria. And that starts at 2:30 p.m. I'm sorry. So we're very excited about that.
And when you look at the area, obviously this is an opportunity to have some great entertainment, but it's also a time to really bring the community out. And so what are the goals behind really the event itself, other than just having a good time? Of course there's some more.
Sure, it's really about the merchants giving back. It's really about bringing the community in and letting them know what's there, what's available, and it's a great way to promote the area itself. The merchants are very involved. They're some of our sponsors on this, and so it's about giving back and bringing the community together. That's a very large, diverse community, and we actually reflect that in our entertainment because we want to make sure that we're reaching out to everyone and we're bringing them together. And so we're saying, you live in the community, you live in the Bronx, please come out, join us, celebrate with us, celebrate the community with us.
And so as community comes out to celebrate, we know that there'll be a variety of artists, and Al, you're producing this thing. What's it been like trying to put all of these people together? I mean, if I call all the names here, we'd have to close out the show because there'd be so many. But what's it like bringing all these people to the stage?
To get the right combination of people, the quality of performance that you want, also to be able to represent that culture. That was the challenge for me, to make sure we had Latin, we had reggae, we had reggaeton, we had hip-hop, we had R&B, we had dance, we had belly dances. I mean, a combination of everything. We want the community to really feel their presence, their culture on stage. And we wanted to add on, you know, with Disney, the basketball piece, the domino piece, the chess piece. We wanted to just reach a little further and say some of these things may not be a component that they deal with daily. They wanted to bring it there.
So you have an opportunity to take part in that, and you talk about chess and dominoes and a celebrity basketball game.
Right.
So who's in the celebrity?
So we have Speedy from the Harlem Wizards that's going to be there. He's going to appear, and he's going to, you know, he's going to play a couple of games with the kids and everything. But it's geared towards, we're going to have a basketball clinic. It's geared towards just getting the community together for one day with the merchants and everybody, and just, you know what, this is us.
Small business is obviously the anchor of America's fabric. When you look at the small business owners and you look in the Jerome Gun Hill area, what do you see?
One of the main things that I see is that we still have a lot of mom and pop store there, which to me, especially with my business background, I am very proud of that. I'm very proud of the fact that we have people who live in the community. It's not large chains, not that we don't appreciate large chains, but we still have that mom and pop community feel with a lot of the small business owners there.
So when you have these mom and pop businesses and you hear them from day to day, what are some of the things that we're hearing from them? I mean,
well, I think one of the things that we want to see on that particular strip is really a beautification project in terms of how do we make this community, this business community more enticing? You know, how do we bring that into play? When you look at other business improvement districts, they're doing that. So right now the focus is how do we change that? How do we capture the 10,000 employees that Montefiore employs? How do we get them to shop on Jerome Avenue? And so one of the things, thank you for this, because one of the things that we're going to be starting very soon is a Montefiore employee discount program. And so they're going to be able to walk into a store, show their ID, and be able to get a discount. So they're just wonderful things that's happening in that community. A lot of synergy that's happening right there now with the merchants and with the community. And this festival is just perfect. It's a perfect way to bring everything together on one particular day. So celebrate with us. That's what we're asking you to do.
I think the merchants are getting closer together. When we do a festival like this, like, you know, they're in their store. They stay in their store all day and do what they do. This time, they're intermingling with each other. They get to share with their neighbor and talk to their neighbor and see everybody come out for this one day. It brings them closer together. They work more as a team.
Yeah, I think because when you really think about it, if I'm in my store and that's all I got to do is take care of my store all day, sometimes I don't have the opportunity to go 2-3 stores down, and if I do, I got to go out and come right back. So the opportunity to really, you know, come together and do that. Young people are a big focus of the day's events as well. And how have young people been receptive to small business? Are they going to small businesses more, or are they, you know, still the big
I think in that community you find a lot of teenagers who do and children who do go to the stores, because you still have that community feel in that particular community. And one of the things that we've done this year, and I think we've always done it in the past, is have Radio Disney there. And so we're also focused on bringing the children in, and this gives them the opportunity to interact with the merchants that's there, to really see the businesses that are there and what is there to offer them. I think this is one of the main things that the festival does. It brings the community in, and it allows the merchants to showcase what they can offer, because the streets will be blocked off, so everyone will be intermingling. And you know, this is what it's about. It's really about the community coming together.
And we want to throw the graphic up on the screen so that we can have an opportunity to find out a little bit more about this very special day, so that way you can come on out and be a part of it. As we said, there's celebrity basketball, there's chess, there's dominoes, and there you see it's all the 12th annual Jerome Gun Hill Business Improvement District Fall Festival. And yes, it is the fall, September 21st, 11 to 6. And so if people are out there on Jerome between Gun Hill and Moshulu, you will see a bunch of folks on.
Right.
And some music And so we want to let you know, come on out and check that out for sure. And so when you really are putting this together and you're getting these people to become engaged, is it a hard sell?
Yeah, it's a hard sell because everybody wants to shine. Everybody wants to, and I have to be selective. I have to get the right act because I'm thinking about the community. I'm not thinking about them. I'm not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about what's going to be best for the community. So sometimes I have to say no to somebody because, you know what, it's not right. Our show is family orientated. So you're not going to see the baggy pants. You're not going to, the language, everything about the show is about something that's positive for the family. And I'll be remiss if I don't say that we're giving an award to Grand Wizard Theodore, who's the inventor of the scratch. The Bronx is the home of hip hop. So we're doing stuff like that. Jazzy J, a DJ that we have, he's a house DJ. Doko Key with supplying the food backstage. So we have a lot of support for different people that are iconic in their own way.
Right, then so the Jerome Business Improvement District, very special festival. Make sure that you're coming out. You said that you might have to tell no to some people, but you certainly said hello to a lot of people. And yes, so a multi-talented group of people that actually be taking the stage. And so we want you to come on out. And as we said, that'll be on September the 21st. And as we 2013 from 11 to 6. And yes, it is rain or shine. We forgot to mention that, rain or shine. So even if it's raining, still come on out.
We'll be there.
Yeah, so as far as business owners are concerned, are we finding more people flocking to the Jerome Gun Hill Business Improvement District?
Especially around this time, because I think there is a sort of momentum now around promoting the festival itself, and so we have more people shopping there. And part of what I do is to literally go to different merchants and build up a relationship with them and find out how best we can help them. So I think we have a lot of things that we're planning in terms of driving business to that community, and I think the merchants are going to be benefiting from that.
All right, well, Marsha, Al, thank you so much for joining us, and best wishes on Saturday.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, we want to also let you know that there are some other things that are happening around this time of year. We want to let you know that Bronx artist Daniel Hobin will be making painting accessible through his new show Art and About, and that's premiering right here on BronxNet on Saturday at 9:30. He also has an article that is in today's news, and you can check it out right over there, and it says Painter Draws Them In, and talks about the monthly show that's going to be hitting the airwaves right here on BronxNet, so be sure to tune in and check his program out. Daniel Hobin will be doing some exciting things right here on BronxNet Television. Well, it's been a pleasure coming into your homes, and of course we want to thank our guests for joining us, and most of all we want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast tonight, 10 p.m. on Cablevision's Channel 67, Verizon Fios Channel 33, or you can watch anytime on the web at www.bronxnet.org. We encourage you, have a great week. Don't forget to keep your heart, your mind, and most of all, this channel wide open. Darren Jaime saying take care and God bless.
Sir, are you okay? Sir, are you okay?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this, so why ignore the signs of a stroke? Call 911 immediately.